Now, what is cover two? Cover two is a two high safety defense. Now, if we draw out cover two, this is what it looks like. Here's our coverage. And let's say our offensive formation is a 2x2 set. All right. So now two receivers on each side. Here's what you normally get. You get your corner, you get your strong safety, your free safety, and your other corner, right? So you have two high defenders and your two safeties. You have two flat defenders responsibility with your corners. Now, the job of the safety is to play high half-field coverage, high half-field coverage. It's the corner's job to have the flat, the corner's job to have the flat. Now, what most coaches do is they teach a 2-to-1 read. What does that mean? This is my number 2 receiver. That's my number 1 receiver, okay? This is my number 2 receiver. This is my number 1 receiver. So they usually teach the corner right here, and they teach the safety to read 2-to-1. So what does that mean? If this receiver gets vertical past about 5 yards, he runs to the safety. If this number 2 receiver breaks out at 5 and under, it is usually the corner's responsibility since he is a flat defender. He is a high safety defender. All right. Now, I always say that that's been taught wrong. Why does that matter? What do I mean by cover 2 has been taught incorrectly? Because you've always been taught to read 2. If 2 goes to the flat, he sits tight, he'll come and he'll expand to number 1. Now, I always tell my defenders this, is that you always want to read 1 to 2. You always want to read number 1 to number 2. If we get into the depths of cover 2 and we get down and we really want to break down how cover 2 actually works, this is how the lineup looks. You usually have a Sam linebacker that is aligned with the strong safety, and usually have either a Will linebacker on the weak side. So that could be a Sam linebacker on this side or a nickel linebacker, whatever, or a nickel defender, okay? Now, when I say read 1 to 2, here's why. A lot of times when you talk about cover 2 beaters, you're looking at a smash concept. So for example, the receiver can sit at 5. They can run a corner route here. They can run a corner route with number 2. They can come inside and break on a dig. So those are all route concepts that are built to beat cover 2. The reason why I say that defenders, i.e. the corner and the safety, the corner and the safety need to read 1 to 2 is because number 1 determines what number 2 is going to do in a route concepts. So when you talk about playing defense and you talk about playing in the secondary, you have to understand route concepts. The problem with most coaches is this. They want you to see everything. They want you to see the full concept. This happens, that happens, whatever. With PPT and what I do and what I teach my DBs is this. I teach them how to understand and how to read one person. Because if I can read one key, that one key will tell me everything that I need to know on how to drop. All right, so what do I mean? If I want to make more plays at the safety position, boom, here are my 2 safeties. How can I make more plays in cover 2 if I know that I have the deep half, but yet they're running different type of route concepts? This is how I do it. I read number 1. Depending on the release point of number 1, that tells me where I need to drop as a safety, and that tells me what type of route they're running. So if number 1 gives me an inside release, for me as a safety, I'm taught to get to the numbers, which is usually out here, get to between the hash and numbers and drop. But if I see number 1 with an inside release, I automatically know that number 2 is either going vertical or he's going inside and underneath somehow, just based off spacing concepts when it comes to routes. Because if number 1 is giving me an inside release, my drop needs to go straight down the hash. I don't have to move. The reason why I don't have to move is because the receiver is running straight to me right now. He's running to me. So there's no reason for me to expand my drop when the receiver is running to me. All right. Now, if number 1 is coming inside, that means number 2 more than likely is coming inside. That could be an underneath route. That could be an over route, or that could be a clear out route where he's going vertical. Okay. Now, when we look at the corner position and we're reading 1 to 2, if number 1 is giving me an inside release, that means I can be more aggressive as a corner. Because number 2, more than likely, according to route concepts, is coming inside, over, or vertical, allowing me to be aggressive. The reason why I can be aggressive at the corner position is because I am the underneath defense at the corner position. When I'm playing the underneath defense, I can be aggressive because my help is over top. I have a safety that is playing high, meaning I can be as aggressive as I want on routes because I'm the underneath defender. So now, knowing that the receiver is trying to get inside, knowing that most route concepts when they have the number one receiver going inside, number two is going inside, that allows me to be aggressive on the play. All right. Now, when we get fancy and we get to an outside release by the number one receiver, that's when things get good. So now, if I'm the corner and I see number one give me an outside release, now I know that more than likely number two is coming on some type of flat route. He's coming on some type of quick out route. He may even run a deep out. I can key on number two and I can be aggressive and I can make plays on the football. Now with number one giving me an outside release, that means the safety. I see number one release outside. That means I need to widen my drop. Why does that mean I need to widen my drop? Because there's two things. He is clearing space for number two to run some type of route. And there's something called the honey hole. The honey hole. A quarterback in practice is taught to hit that honey hole. That's the space between the corner and the space between the safety. Okay? So now, that honey hole shot is something that you want to take away. So number one expands and gives you an outside release. I have to expand as a safety, knowing that my initial threat of number two is going to go out somehow. Just by spatial concepts. There's spatial concepts in the offensive route system. Number one has a mandatory outside release. He releases in order to create space for number two to get outside. That could be a bubble, that could be an out, that could be some type of quick hitch, whatever that is. As a safety, my job is not to cover anything short. My job is to protect deep. So if they're threatening me deep with the outside release, I widen and I take away that space for the honey hole. Now, when I look at my will linebacker, or that could be a possible nickel depending on the strength, I am a wall defender. I see number one give me an outside release. I see number two expand. My eyes automatically go back front side to any type of route that's coming across the field. Any type of route. Because according to route concepts with offenses, there's such things called mandatory outside releases, mandatory inside releases. You've got to understand the concept. But the way that you understand the concept is by understanding keys. And all you have to do is understand one key. If you understand one key, that makes you more effective at the corner and at the safety position, even the linebacker positions. That is the key breakdown in cover two. You have to understand that football is a simple game. Okay? Football is a very simple game. An offense can only do two things. An offense can run the football, or an offense can throw the football. All right? Now, if they throw the football, you have to understand the keys. If we're looking at a 2x2 set, and coach call it cover two, I'm the corner, I'm the free safety, I'm the nickel back. I know that these three defenders are covering these two defenders. Based on what this one defender does, whether it's an inside release or outside release, determines what these three defenders do. And allows them to be more aggressive on the football. It allows them to understand spatial awareness, but it allows them to intercept concepts that the offense is trying to do. Remember, if number one outside releases, number two is coming out in some way. Number one inside releases, number two is either getting vertical or he's coming across the field right now. Why is that key? So if I'm the strong safety or corner on this side, all right, and I know that my number two has given me an outside release, or excuse me, my number one has given me an outside release, opening up space for number two, that means something from the backside has to come. Because you're not going to clear out space here to open up space here to leave a voided space there. So now, based off one player's action, I understand where the void is on this side as a corner. I understand where the void is as a backside linebacker and safety. And I understand that if they go away, I'm looking backside to intercept any type of route concept. That's the breakdown of cover two.